Good morning and welcome to the class. So, today we are going to study the topic personality, which is a part of educational psychology subject. So, let us first discuss what is this term personality we often use in our daily talks. It has been taken from the Latin word that is persona, and it is the mask worn by the actors. It was actually while playing their role in the drama. So, what is personality? It is the sum total of ways in which an individual reacts and interacts with others. So, what you show to others is your personality. How you behave, how you show your emotions, how you carry yourself in front of others, how you interact with others. So, today's learning objectives for this class will be to understand the concept of personality, which is very important, and to understand the various characteristics or the factors which are responsible for development of certain personality, then how personality develops, how it can be used, applied in the area of education, and what is its use for the teachers, what is the role of teachers in this area, and also the various theories, various traits of personality, and how we can measure through various test, projective test, non-projective test kinds of tests we will go through in this class. So through that you can know that how you can handle your personality and why, and it is important for a teacher to know about their students' personality. So there are various variables influencing individual behavior. Now, if we see that the behavior is affected by many things, like there must be some individual uh, factors which influence the individual or the person, and there may be some environmental factors which affect, influence the individual behavior. So it is basically, if as a person we see that it is based on the skills and abilities of a person, their personality, their perceptions, their attitudes, values, and ethics, what as a person, as an individual we have, and the environment which affects us, like the organization in which we are working, or the group in with which we are working, or the kind of job we are doing, or our personal life also affects our personality. So this is how we influence our behavior, and all these factors together combine to form our personality. So it is basically a characteristic patterns of thoughts, feelings, and behavior that make a person unique. So every person has a unique personality. So it is believed that personality arises from within the individual and remains fairly consistent throughout the life. So while there are many concepts of defining personality, but it mainly focuses on variety of influences, ranging from genetic explanations for personality traits, because every person is unique, so they have different kind of behavior, they have different traits in them, for the role of the environment or experience which shapes an individual's personality. So let us now discuss the factors which influences the personality development. And nowadays it is very important to develop our personality, because this is how we look to the others. And as a teacher you must be an ideal personality in front of your students. So there are personality factors which are again divided in three parts, like biological factors, sociological factors, or psychological factors. So if we take look at the biological factors, so it your physique, your genes, your nervous system, this all also influences your personality. Then there are variety of sociological factors, like your home, the school where you work or you study, the language, culture. So these are all are the environment around us which surrounds us. It also affects our personality. Then there are also psychological factors like intelligence, motivation, emotion, attitude, interest, or sentiment. So these are the various factors which affects our personality and develops our personality as we look to the other person. So let us now discuss certain definitions which have been given regarding the personality. And the most famous definition is given by Allport. He said, personality is the dynamic organization within the individual of those psychophysical systems that determine his characteristic and behavior and thought. So Elport believed that actually it is a combination of psychological and physical systems. So that determines the characteristics of our personality, our behavior, our thinking attitude, or our thinking pattern. So now we will discuss about the characteristics of personality. So exactly we need to discuss what exactly makes our personality. So traits and patterns of thought and emotion play a very important role, as well as the various kinds of characteristics which we are seeing here. So here we can see that it is dynamic and ever changing. So your personality does not always remain same, sometimes because due to certain factors which we discussed earlier. So due to that, sometimes it keeps on changing. So your personality keeps on changing. So it depends, as we have discussed or seen this example many a times, that to few people the glass was which was filled with water. To few people it will look like that the glass is half full, and to few people it will look like the glass is half empty. So the way we look at our life, the perspective with which we live our life depends on in changing our personality. So there are various psychological and physiological or psychophysical, we can say, factors that also influence. These are the biological processes and needs. Then our personality is very much affected if it is organized or integrated. It is unique because every individual have different features, specific features as an part of their personality. How they adapt to their environment, how in their working environment, or with the people they adapt to, or if they are working in a group, so how they adjust in an environment. If they are self conscious, they understand the morals, the ethics, the beliefs. It all depends sometimes on the culture also in the society which we live. So our personality also blooms after a social interaction. It can be developed through social behavior. How we respond to our environment, how we act in a certain way in certain conditions. So personality is displayed is just more than behavior. It can also be seen in our thoughts, feelings, close relationships, other social interactions. So this is how there are different unique characteristics of personality of different people. These are the personality determinants which determine our personality. It changes our personality. Like the first one is heredity and biological factors. So it depends that what kind of physique we have: tall, short, fat, thin. The intelligence level, the IQ level, male, female, our nervous system, how our body is responding, our health, our chemical organization of our body. So sometimes heredity and biological factors also determine our personality. So if we talk about the, it is influenced by genes. So brain imaging procedures show the extroverts seek stimulation because their normal brain arousal is relatively low. Genes also influence our temperament and behavioral style. Differences in students' shyness and inhibition may be attributed to autonomic nervous system reactivity. So sometimes it may be because of our biological factors that we are, uh, you know, uh, performing in a certain way, reacting in a certain way in front of others. Then there are other environmental factors in the environment which we live, like our family. Our family is the biggest determinant in our environmental determinant, which shapes our personality. What we see, we learn. Since the childhood, we grow in our family, and we imbibe the different, ethics, culture, their thinking process, and other things, and we try to adapt it in our in our personality. So some things which cannot be changed are, sometimes unknowingly, unconsciously given by our family. The geographical location in which we are living, so sometimes we change our personality according to that, according to the seasons which are present there at such locations, or the life which we need to live in a certain way due to certain restrictions. So what kind of life pattern we follow in, if we are living in certain geographical areas. Sometimes childhood experience, what we have experienced in our family, what kind of incidents have happened with us, our neighborhood, in which neighborhood we are staying, were they encouraging, were they uh, restriction in our development of our personality. Our friends, certainly our friends also determine our personality. They sometimes influence you so much that you are going in a right direction, and sometimes some friends maybe uh, you know turn your focus on different things. So there are certain friends who can change your thinking pattern also. So again and again, if someone is repeating in front of you in anything, then you may be influenced by that. The school in which you are going, the environment of that school, the media, the various kind of things which you come through, like through internet, through newspaper, through magazines. Clothes also play an factor. How you dress up, how you like to dress up, what do you know that you can look good in certain clothes. Your culture in which you are surviving, in which you are staying, along with your family, along with your social values and ethics. So these are the specific ways, actually the personality and environment are complementary to each other, and these are the specific ways in which individuals and environment interact. So different people choose different environments. The school you attend and the music you listen to are partly based on your dispositions. Our personality shape how we react to events. Anxious people, there are certain people who develop anxiousness regarding certain events, so they react to situations differently than relaxed people. So this is all what your personality, it shows your personality, how you react to certain conditions, to events which occur before you. So our personalities shape situations sometimes. How we view and treat people influences. So this is sometimes said that if you want some behavior with yourself, you need to do it with others also. So this is how sometimes our personality shapes situations. So if you are not doing good behavior with others, so others may retaliate or may completely close you from coming near to you. So this is how you can shape situations with your negative personality also. Then there are emotional reactions, which are also the determinants of developing a positive personality, like the on which we want to go through, what we want to achieve in our life, our aptitude or attitude in doing, carrying out certain work, our interest. Do we develop interest in certain things which we do? Do we have interest in anything, or we try to pursue anything for to create interest, to develop interest so that it remains there? The motivation part. So life is like this. Sometimes you will feel motivated and sometimes you will feel demotivated. But when you are feeling motivated, your personality will look different. And when you are depressed or anxious, your personality will look different. So this is how person to person it varies. Your intellectual level, how you think, how you take decisions, how you solve any problems. Do you come under someone's pressure to take decisions, or you are you independent? So it all depends on your intellect, your intelligence. So how can a well balanced personality behave? So, a well balanced personality will be a combination of certain aspects like good physical appearance, whether they are actually comes in the definition of beautiful, ugly, or anything. But if they dress up properly, if they go with confidence, so their physical appearance is very much important. Are the person whom you are talking to is looking into your eyes and talking confidently, or the clothes which they have worn, it also gives impression of their personality, that they want to remain tidy and neat and clean. The working habits, their emotional stability, whenever a situation comes in front of them, any panic situation comes, how they react in such situations. So do they remain stable emotionally at that time? High intellectual ability, so they are going to if they are going to take right decisions by going through all options, so they have high intellectual ability. High degree of social adjustment, this is very much important because such persons are popular who regularly actually adjust with the society, adjust with other people. They have high moral character, it should reflect in their personality. Good temperament, not it should be in a gloomy way, or always want to sulk into their own rooms, or they do not want to talk to others. So a good behavior, a happy go lucky person will always have a well balanced personality. Tremendous common sense, what to do, how to do, what is good, what is not, and pragmatic thinking, the practical work, practical thinking. That by going, you must face various kinds of options, alternatives, but you need to think that what is right for you or what is not right for you. So you have to take a correct decision. Sometimes you will not take a correct decision, but that does not mean that you are a bad decision maker. So life is like that. You have to learn that what is right for you, what is not right for you, and if it is not right, you have taken a wrong decision, then you should own your the decisions which you have taken, so you can make it right also at the later part. So it is not always that whatever a decision you have taken, it is final, or you ruined your life. So this is how you need to emotionally balance yourself, and learn how to use common sense, how to employ certain practical decisions. So for this, for finding out the different kinds of personalities, there have been various theories developed by the psychologist, and the most famous of the theories are classified like this under trait theory, psychodynamic theory, humanistic theory, or integrative approach. So, trait theory says it understands individuals by breaking down behavior patterns into observable traits. So, it is very important that you can measure the traits of the personality of a person. Psychodynamic theory emphasizes the unconscious determinants of behavior. Now, humanistic theory, if we talk about, it emphasizes individual growth and development. And the integrative approach, which is related to all kinds of approaches into one, it describes personality as a composite of an individual's psychological processes. So mainly there are type theory, trait theory, and type cum trait theory, which are most famous. So, if we talk about the Hippocrates classification, which is the earliest classification we can find about personality, that is divided into four parts like choleric, melancholic, phlegmatic, and sanguine. So, choleric means this kind of personality is emotionally weak. His body is strong, his or her body is strong, and they are tempted towards another things because they are weak. They are not able to take right decisions. They are tempted. Yes, this I have to achieve. If not this time, next time I will not be able to achieve that. So maybe he or she is not able to take right decision at a right time. So they may be considered as emotionally weak. Then melancholic personalities are emotionally and bodily weak, and they are pessimist. They are negative thinkers. They think that everything which is happening around them is wrong, negative, and they are not able to take right decisions on their own. So they are both weak on the side of emotions and on the side of physical structure. Then there is the phlegmatic, that is emotionally strong person. So the phlegmatic personality is emotionally strong, able to control his emotions. So he may be bodily weak, but he is able to take control over his mind and take control of his emotions. Sometimes they are lazy type, but they remain always happy because they are not in any race. Then there are sanguine type of personality, which is the best type of personality in the whole trait, in the type theory, and which is they are bodily strong, they are healthy by mind and through body, they are energetic, they take interest in everything they do, they have control over their emotions, they have control over their physical aspects, and they are always optimist. They try to think in a positive manner, they try to find out a solution to any problem. So this is how the sanguine kind of personality is the best personality in type theory. Then there is Krashmer's classification, and this is divided into three parts like picnic, athletic, and asthenic. Now, the picnic kind of personality have, body characteristics like they are fat, and in whom fat is more than muscle. So they are not fit, but fat. So, but they are social and they help others. And if you talk about the athletic kind of person who is healthy, he has balance between muscles and bone development. So they are energetic, optimist, and can adjust to any situation. This is the best kind of personality. Then there is asthenic kind of personality who are thin, lean, tall. They don't have muscles. They have bones, but they are unsociable. Sometimes they can be called as introverts or shy, and sometimes they can become pessimist and they try to remain alone. So they have a kind of an introvert personality. So this is how we can differentiate that what kind of personality a person has. Then there is Sheldon's classification, which says according to body type, that is endomorphy, in which the body type is they do not have any muscle development, but they have prominent stomach. They take everything easy, sociable and affectionate. So they are a little bit of emotionally uh, developed. Then there is mesomorphy. They have balance between development of stomach and bones. They likes to work. They are interested in adventurous activities. Then the third type of personality is ectomorphy, which is weak, tall, or thin. So they are pessimist, unsociable, and alone. They do not want to think in a positive manner. They don't want to mingle up with other friends or any group or in their class, and they want to remain alone. So all classifications we can see there are similar kinds of traits which the different psychologists have identified, and some are happy, some try to remain happy, and some just makes others gloomy with their different introvert attitude. Then there is Carl Jung's classification, which is very much popular, which classifies the personality in three parts, that is introvert, extrovert, and ambivert. So as we all know that introvert are the people who just remain to themselves. They are quiet, they are reserved, they do not want to mingle up with others, they remain in their own world. Then there are extroverts are people who are sociable, likes to go out. They are very talkative. Sometimes they have their expressions are very good, they are very expressive, they are able to express whatever comes to their mind. They do not think what is right or wrong, they just express themselves. So we cannot say that both the personalities are good. They may be extreme introverts or some less kind of introverts, or there may be extroverts they who can be extreme going to these characteristics. Then the combination of these two above classification is known as ambivert. So here the ambivert is little bit of introvert where the situation occurs, and little bit of extrovert which where the situation occurs. So this is the balanced kind of personality according to Carl Jung's classification. But this is the reality of the society, that among us, there are many people who are based on these classification, and we need to cater to all the class, people, their different personalities. So we have to accept the people with their personalities. But if it goes in extreme manner, so then they may be asked to take some treatment, medical treatments or psychological treatments. And for this only we have to identify which kind of personality this person has. Then Hans J. Eysenck has given type cum trait theory, and he has given the classification based on introvert, extrovert, neurotic, or psychotic. So this is how, based on this, he has given the type cum trait theory, which is it is a combination of traits and also the type theory. Then there is another theory, that is psychoanalytic theory. So this we have discussed in defense mechanism, that id is the pleasure principle. It goes on, it is, these all are the structures of our personality, and it goes on within our unconscious mind. Whatever comes to our mind, we, without thinking of ego and super ego, just goes on with our instinct. So it goes with instinct. Ego is something reality. So it is based on the principle of reality, which comes in the subconscious mind, and which tries to create balance between superego and id. Then there is superego, which is more focused on the morality part. Conscience arises in this, and it is done with conscious mind, whether this is right, whether this is wrong, and after balancing with a right and wrong, you will take the right decision. So personality traits is a personality characteristic that endures over time across different situations. So trait theories of personality focus on measuring, identifying, and describing individual differences in personality in terms of traits. Focus is on what is different, not what is the same. So here the traits, why the traits, personality traits are given? Just to find out what is different. We don't want to find out that what kind of same personalities they have. We want to find out how one person's personality is different from others. So there may be some traits we have to identify. So it can be used to predict behavior based on traits. Now the personality can be assessed also. We can find out that what kind of personality a certain person has. So it can be done on the basis of few methods like subjective methods, objective methods, or projective methods. So here are the subjective methods which are given, like case history, autobiography, self-rating, eliciting verbal responses of the subject through questionnaires, attitude scales, inventories, interview, aptitude test, entrance inventories. So this is how, with this, we can, adopt certain methods which are subjective in manner. So you have to, do it in a, elaborate manner. Then there are objective methods like personality inventories through observation. Observation can be done in various ways, through checklist, through rating scale, or following the sociogram or the sociometry method, performance or situational test. So this will be the exact thing which you will need to find out. This is how the objective methods work. There will be no details. There will be no subjective methods adopted here. This will just be, related to objectivity, related to the point. And then there are projective methods. So there are various kinds of personality tests available in the whole world. Many psychologists have developed more than thousands of personality tests, but only few of them are very popular and easy to use, like the perceptive technique of Rorschach's ink blot test. This is very much famous. Then there is thematic apperceptive test, apperception test, that is famously known as TAT. Then there is SCT, which is sentence completion test. Then there is storytelling and story completion test, free association and dream analysis test, or productive technique. So these are the methods of measuring personality. Personality cannot be quantitatively measured, but appraise personality to help us to know about the physical, mental, emotional, and social behavior of the individual for the purpose of guidance and selection of personnel, to appear for the teacher to find out the teacher competence. So these are the various methods of measuring personality which we have discussed, that there are subjective methods, then objective methods, and projective methods. So in if we talk about few subjective methods like autobiography, so it is a faithful record of one's past and future. So subject writes about aims, ambitions, achievement, attitude, and experience. So this is a subjective, method which a psychologist tries to find out what kind of personality this person has. It has certain advantages and certain limitations. So it is economical and useful to explore the personality, but there are certain limitations to it, like the subject can exaggerate his qualities. You never know that he's saying truth or the false. It may be full of irrelevant and insignificant things, so it may increase the task of bringing out the result. Since subject writes from memory, it may fail. So they just write there about the things asked to them in a autobiographical manner about themselves. So it may fail, sometimes they don't remember it correctly. And there may be language handicap. Sometimes the other person who is going to read that autobiography is not able to understand what has been written in the autobiography. Then the another method we discussed was the case history method. It is information collected about heredity and environment features, and it is a physical, intellectual, academic, emotional, and social history. It is a data about nature of delivery, health of child at birth, relationship with parent and sibling, physical diseases, or any cases of maladjustment. So it is very much useful in clinical method. It is more systematic and scientific rather than the autobiography method. But it is very much time consuming, and sometimes it becomes very difficult to collect data. Then there is interview technique, which is very much popular. This is a face-to-face interaction between interviewer and interviewee. So ask question and get information. So through this, ambitions, aspiration, and many other traits can be found out. But there are certain limitations, like it is subjective in nature. It can be costly. It is time consuming, and there should be a properly expert and trained person to ask questions if they want to really find out the results. Then there are questionnaires, like a list of questions may be given to an individual. The respondent himself fills it. We judge personality based on the answer given. This is the most popular method which is generally used to find out about the personality. So sometimes subject may not show his emotional feeling, and they just tick on the wrong answers just to complete the questionnaire. Then there are inventories, and it is specially designed to seek answers about the person and his personality traits. The items are addressed to the sense that the respondent is asking the question to himself. For example, there is personal data sheet related to feeling, worries, and symptoms of mental disorders. Then there are other inventories like the Minnesota Personal Inventory, EPI. So the MMPI is the most famous one. It is most widely researched and clinically used of all personality tests. It was originally developed to identify emotional disorders and various kinds of personality traits. So this is how the test profile of Minnesota Personal Inventory looks like. Then there are inventories like EPI, which is Eysenck Personality Interview. It is for assessing tendencies. Two dimension of personality is considered: stable, unstable, and introvert or extrovert. So this is how the Eysenck Personality Inventory works. Then there is Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, that is MBTI. It is based on the people are usually fundamentally different. People are fundamentally alike. People have preference combinations for extraversion, introversion, perception, or judgment. So it is basically developed to find out the understand the individual differences. So there may be 16 kind of personality types according to MBTI, that is extroverted versus introverted, sensing versus intuitive, thinking versus feeling, judging versus perceiving. So these are the 16 primary traits of the people which are considered in Myers-Briggs inventory test. Then there are personality types like type A personality or type B personality. So type A personality are always moving, walking, and eating rapidly. They feel impatient with the rate at which most events take place. So strive to think or do two or more things at once, cannot cope with leisure time, are obsessed with numbers, measuring their success in terms of how many or how much of everything they acquire. Type B personality says never suffer from a sense of time urgency with its accompanying patience. Feel no need to display or discuss either their achievements or accomplishments. Play for fun and relaxation rather than to exhibit their superiority at any cost. And they can relax without guilt. So, this is how the type A and type B personalities look like. Then there are objective methods which are more scientific. They do not depend on subject's own statements but upon his overt behavior as revealed to others. The examples are rating scales, judgment scales, or rating can be done by teacher, parents, examiners on 5-point, 3-point, 7-point, or 9 or 11-point rating. Then there are projective techniques which are the unconscious kind of mind of individual to project one's own unconscious wishes, thought, fears, and hopes. They assess the total personality. Examples are the Rorschach's ink blot test, sentence completion test, thematic apperception test, play technique, or word association test. Now, if talking about the Rorschach's ink blot test, this is how it looks like an ink blot on a paper. It was developed by Rorschach in 1921. It is based on perceptual approach. It consists of 10 cards with the ink blots and bisymmetrical ink blots, and cards are presented one after another. So based on this, the responses which are given by the subject, whole or part is seen, determinant is done, content is taken, popularity is taken. Then there is thematic apperception test, which was developed by Murray and Morgan in 1931, and it is 30 pictures are showed of different life situations, like 10 for men, 10 for women, and 10 for both. So 20 pictures are shown to each subject. Subject has to answer questions by building the story about pictures. What has led to the incident? What are the present condition? What will be future results? So the subject arranged the material based on his life and revealed his personality. Then the play technique is very much familiar to us, in which the situations are to be planned and controlled, and they are the subject is given opportunity to play freely to toys. So this is more suitable for the small children. Then there is word association test. So speak the first word that comes to your mind after listening to a stimulized word. Like if we talk about Kardashian, so how this person is perceiving Kardashian by taking this name, and how this Kardashian. So Kim Kardashian or the Kardashian family is very much popular in America, and they are the social influencers. So how by hearing their name, what kind of picture we perceive in our mind. Then there is sentence completion test, which indicates their feeling and liking and disliking by reading the sentences. So there are various kinds of tests. We can see that the personality can be measured by that. Then there are big five personality traits like extroversion, excitability, sociability, talkativeness, assertiveness, high amount of emotional expressiveness. So agreeableness, trust, altruism, kindness. Then there's consciousness, which relates to responsible behavior, dependable behavior, persistent or organized behavior. Like people find me reliable and I keep my house clean. So you can find out what kind of trait this person has. Then there is emotional stability, which leads to anxiety, moodiness, irritability or sadness, calm or self confident. So I am very moody, I often feel sad and down, depressed. Then openness to experience, imagination, insight, sensitivity, whether creativity is there. So there is, a teacher has a big role in the personality development of their students. They have to respect the individuality of each child. Teacher should act as a guide. They should be firm in terms of disciplines. They should be source of inspiration. They should show love and patience. They should understand children. They should be philosopher, a friend, guide, facilitator to the children. They are communicators. They are the manager of their learning. They should be ideal person, role model for the students. Their character and personality also influences the students of their class. So they should also show the zeal and the love for their profession, and they should also place themselves in a place of their students while teaching. This is how the role of a teacher is also very important. These are the references which you can go through, and it is a very important topic of personality which you can find on various national or international platforms. Now let us move to the evaluation questions part, and the question number 1 is, which theorist focused on the importance of the self concept in personality? And the options are Carl Rogers, Alfred Adler, Walter Mischel, Hans Eysenck. And the correct answer is Carl Rogers, who gave the self-concept personality theory. Then the next question is, who among the following psychologists divided all personalities into introverts and extroverts? And the right answer is Carl Jung, who divided the personalities into introvert, extrovert, and ambivert. Next question is, a dash refers to any characteristics in which one individual differs from another in a relatively permanent and consistent way. And the options are personality, trait, humanistic, or concept. And the correct word is trait. So there are various traits which differentiates the individual from others. Who among the following saw personality as composed of three major systems, the ego, and the superego? And among the options, we can see the correct answer is Sigmund Freud. We have discussed this in the part of our defense mechanism, that he said that there are different structures of personality, that is ego, and superego. Then the next question is, dash have been devised as one method for uncovering unconscious motives. So here among the options, we can see the projective test are the one who uncover our unconscious motives rather than subjective or the objective test. Next question is, which of the following is most widely used projective technique? And the correct answer is both A and B. So the Rorschach test and the thematic apperception test are widely used. Next question is, dash refers to the characteristic patterns of behavior and way of thinking that determine a person's adjustment to his environment. So that is the personality. Next question is, dash define personality as the dynamic organization within the individual of those psychophysical systems that determine his unique adjustment to his environment. And the correct answer is G.W. Allport. Next question is, the dash consists of elaborate ways of behaving and thinking which constitute the executive function of the person. And out of these options, the correct answer is the ego. And the last question is, according to dynamic theorists, people use dash to reduce their anxiety and guilt. So this we have discussed, that this is the term defense mechanism. So with this, we come to the end of the topic, and we will see you in the next class. Thank you and have a good day.